Hello there gorgeous gamers and welcome back to Pure Play TV, and today we're looking at the best Star Wars games that you can play on your brand spanking new Xbox Series XS. Though bear in mind they are also playable on Xbox One S and One X, but they will definitely run better and load faster on your new console with its fancy SSD loading speeds. Let's get on with it, shall we? Before we do carry on learning the ways of the Force, please take a second to hit the like and subscribe buttons down below. Cheers my dears! LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga. The name may be a little misleading these days after the new Star Wars trilogy, but that doesn't take away from one of the best LEGO games of all time. And it's a really good Star Wars game too. In fact, this is perhaps my favourite Star Wars game to date. It has everything. Hours and hours of gameplay, lots of collectibles, and couch co-op, which is a great way to spend an afternoon with the kids, if you've got them. Smashing things apart and collecting those studs will never get old, and I highly recommend this one to any Star Wars fan, as well as players who have smaller kids that they want to entertain. Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2, the originals. EA and DICE did a decent job with the new Battlefront games, but they're still not a scratch on the originals. Fancy graphics don't make a game after all. The originals had single player battles and you weren't forced to play online to get the most out of the games. These days, you can't even play them on Xbox Live anyway, but they make for some great local split screen games if you have a player 2 handy. The original will always be my favourite, but Battlefront 2 introduced playable heroes that you didn't have to pay for, and so I'm cheating a bit and I'm bundling these two entries as one. It's my list. I'll do whatever I want. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. This is an absolute gem, despite being older than most of our audience. It was my first ever turn-based RPG, in fact. To begin with, I hated it, and you might hate it too, but hang in there and you will be rewarded with an amazing Star Wars story, as well as some really good turn-based action combat. There's a big twist towards the end of the game, and if you've managed to go all these years without it being spoiled, you're in for a proper treat. Trust me, stick with it and you'll come out the other end a true believer. Star Wars The Force Unleashed. The Force Unleashed was a spectacle back in its day, and the opening, where you got to murder countless Wookiees as Darth Vader, is one of the best openings any game has ever done. Ever. Probably. Using the Force in a Metroidvania-style lightsaber hack and slasher is amazing, even today, and on the new Xbox consoles, it loads super fast, and it runs far better than it ever did on the Xbox 360. It did get a sequel, but the less said about that the better. Stick with Force Unleashed and only venture into Force Unleashed 2 if you're desperate for more Star Wars. Star Wars Republic Commando. Republic Commando was well ahead of its time, and it was a strange little game to have the Star Wars name attached to. And I mean that in the best possible way. Before Republic Commando, there wasn't really a market for Star Wars first-person shooters. It was all about lightsabers. Okay, Battlefront did have a first-person mode, but that does not count. This one was a pure FPS, and it did so much right that it's a real shame to see that it never got the sequel it so sorely deserved. It didn't help that it released quite late into the original Xbox's life, when most people were looking forward to the Xbox 360. And sadly, it kind of fell by the wayside. It has a cult following though, and I've just realised I'm part of a cult. Cool! And there we have it, the 5 best Star Wars games you can play on your lovely new Xbox Series XS, or your smelly old Xbox One XS. I'm kidding, but they all run so much better on the new consoles, it's hard not to look back at the One X and the One S with a little bit of pity. If you enjoyed this video, then please take a moment to like and subscribe. It really does help us, and we really do appreciate it. I've been Chris, you've been Promising Padawans, and I'll see you on the next one. Until then, bye!